Hi everybody, Rubber Mold Man here with my next video in my series of how to make nice concrete statuary using latex rubber molds such as this one. This video is going to deal with the perfect concrete mix to make statuary. This is one I just took out of this mold, this frog on a finial, so it's still green, still fresh, but that's pretty much what you should get when they come out of the mold, all the nice detail and everything, not a lot of defects or anything. And then after they cure for a little bit, you can paint them up, such as this pug dog here, and you see nice detail in it, and I did a quick little finish on it here, just one of numerous finishes, which I'll do with in other videos down the line about how to do paint finishes. But the goal again is how to get these kind of products out of rubber molds such as this. This is the mold I just used here for the frog here, and as you can see, just like in my other videos, it's a rubber latex mold. The mold itself is this inside part here with the rubber. This one has a seam up the back, so it opens up the back, and then it has the fiberglass mother mold that holds it in shape. And then I use clamps and bolts to keep them together. So, what is the perfect cement mixture to make these kind of statues? Well, the short answer is there is no perfect cement mixture. I have a mix that I generally use, but I know lots of other people use a slightly different mix. The fact is, people just kind of have to practice and find what they prefer and what they like to work with. But I will show you the basics of it so you have a good idea, because there are some really wrong ideas out there about cement mixtures. So I'm going to show you the basic ingredients here, and because I'm fancy, I put them in these nice dessert dishes here, mainly because I didn't have anything else here at the house to show. I'm not at the shop. Your three basic components for cement mixture. Your basic cement. This is Portland cement. Very easy to find. It's at all like Home Depots and Lowe's stores. You buy it in the sack. Next, you want some sand. Again, you can get it in the sack at those stores. And then you want some aggregate to add strength to your concrete, which is gravel, such as this. Now, I know people have made statuary using nothing but Portland cement. They just add the water to it, mix it into a liquid, and they pour it into the molds, and it will harden. It's going to make garbage. Cement by itself really does nothing. It's like plaster on its own. It'll take the shape that you want, but over time it's just going to crumble away. It's going to have no strength to it. Same with some of these quick-set cements that I see people use, where they just get the quick-set cement and they don't add anything to it. It's going to produce a very weak, inferior product. So you need to add stuff to it. So then the next step is the sand. I've seen people where they just add the sand in with the cement. That does not make concrete. That makes a mortar mix, the kind of stuff you use between bricks and that on buildings and that. Again, it will work to get you your basic shapes of the items, but it will produce a very weak, inferior product. So you need to add the aggregate, the gravel such as this. Now, depending where you are, the gravel might be slightly different size and color, but for the most part you want pea-sized gravel. It doesn't really matter the color. Where I'm at, I get it kind of white like this. Back in the Midwest, it used to be real dark because we got it from the riverbeds. Doesn't matter. You just want some gravel. Now the basic components, and this is going to vary how big you're going to be mixing, but basically the mix that I use is 1 part Portland cement to 2 parts sand to 1 to 2 parts gravel. You always want at least 1 part gravel, if not 2. I use more gravel if I'm doing big bulky items like benches and bird baths, things like that. Smaller items like this, I'd probably do the 1.5 parts gravel. But it varies. And then I add enough water so that my mix is actually quite creamy and runny. A lot of people like a real thick mix, and then they use these vibration units to put on the molds that shake them, because you pour them upside down, and they'll pour this real thick stuff in, and then these units clip on that have to shake it and vibrate it, and then they move it to the next mold. I don't have the time for that, and I find it basically just pointless. You use a nice wet creamy mix, not watery to where it's completely separated, but nice and creamy. You fill up the mold almost to the top, and then you just pick up the mold and give it a little shake, a little twist like that, a little vibration, no more than 10-15 seconds. Top it off, give it a little bit more of a shake, and then just leave it. You come back after about 20 minutes, top it off if needed, strike it off with a trowel or a stick, and you're generally good. And that's how I get these type pieces, with a wet creamy mix. I know a lot of people out there say you have to use the thick mix. I don't really understand why so many people are about the thick mix, because to me it's so much more work to use. The nice creamy mix is easy to pour. The aggregate spreads around in it, and you get next to no air bubbles if you give the mold a little shake. Very simple. Now the next thing I'll tell you is what you need to mix it in, because I have a lot of people that say, boy, I would love to be able to make statues like this at home, but I don't want to invest in a big cement mixer and all the big equipment I need. Here's the thing, you don't need any of that. I pour on a large scale at my shop. I just use a big trough and a big drill with a big mixing paddle in it and mix all my cement. I mix about 75 gallons at a time. Now, on a smaller scale, I'm assuming most of you that are watching this video are fairly new to this, you're probably going to be doing it on a smaller scale. In that case, you can get, some 5-gallon buckets and then some smaller buckets to act as your parts, so that you would do, your 1 part cement, 2 parts sand, 1 to 2 parts gravel, and mix it with a smaller drill with a mixing blade, the kind that you would mix like paint or plaster in the buckets, and you just whip it up in those buckets. If you wanted to do it on a slightly larger scale, you can get a bigger, trough or tank to mix it in. But for the most part, it's the same thing. Use a drill with a mixing paddle, add your ingredients, add your water, blend it all up. If the mix looks a little off, you adjust what you need into it. Generally, the main problem is some folks add too much water at first, because the sand might be wet from sitting outside after a rainstorm. So I always use a little less water and add it as needed to get the right consistency, because it's really hard to thicken up a mix. It's easy to thin a mix. But that's really it, folks. Portland cement. Buy it by the sack at Lowe's, Home Depot, your local stores. Very cheap. 1 bag will go a long way, make several statues. Sand. Again, you can buy it in the bag, or in my case, I do it on a large scale. I get it brought in by the dump truck load. A lot cheaper that way if you're able to do it that way. And then, of course, some gravel or aggregate. And I do recommend the gravel. I know some people use like sawdust and wood chippings, things like that, for the aggregate. You really want gravel to give your concrete proper strength, because remember, the cement is really just a glue. That's all it is. It's a glue that holds the sand and the gravel together, thus making a strong piece of concrete that's going to last for decades. Using just the cement by itself, no good. Cement with sand, not very good at all. Using these 3 together, very good. That's going to be your proper mix. So there you go. That's the components of a proper cement mixture. Again, you don't need special equipment. You don't need to buy a big cement mixer or anything like that. Just, you can mix it at home in a few buckets. We're talking just, literally between a couple molds and everything you need to get started, probably $150, you'd be ready to start your own little home-based business making concrete statuary. So that's it for this video. Feel free to email me at rubbermoldman@gmail.com if you have any questions. Again, my molds that I make, I'm currently selling on eBay. My user ID is funbug1952. I am going to be opening my own website soon that will have all my designs. I just have a few on eBay right now. And if you're interested in buying from me and don't like eBay, feel free to, again, email me direct at rubbermoldman@gmail.com, and we can talk about it there. Now, my next video, I've had a lot of people contact me wanting to know more in detail about how to use rubber-only molds, because this is a fiberglass latex rubber mold. I also sell just the rubber-only liners for smaller molds, and a lot of people are just curious how to do that. So my next video, I'm going to actually show the entire process of casting one of those molds from start to finish, and show you just how easy it is. So I thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe for my future videos, because I'm also going to, down the line, show how to do paint finishes as well. Thank you, and have a great day.